Okay, today we're going to learn the halacha of lifting the iver latitin michshlas. A pasuk in Parshas Kedoshim, you're not allowed to put a stumbling block in front of a blind, meaning don't cause somebody to do aveira, and adrabah, to help him to prevent from doing the wrong thing. So how it relate to Pesach? There's two inyanim, there's maybe more, but I want to focus on two inyanim briefly. There's certain things we do, we don't even think what the halacha says about it, and it's become like popular. There's two inyanim popular in America. They sell almost today in every store, I'm talking about kosher establishments, kidneys. Not in every place to sell is so kosher that you're allowed to do it. And B, there's a minhag, before Pesach, they sell unkosher liver, beef liver, because many people have this tradition, they cook something from the liver for Pesach. Now, those two inyanim, l'choire, cost some time, and most of the time, could border with lifnei iver. I'll explain. Now, it's true that some people eat kidneys. We have a lot of shiurim about this. It's true that some people, according to many Sfardim, eat kidneys on Pesach. It's not chum, it's 100%. However, it's not as a poshut to say, if somebody says, I'm a Sfardi, I'm going to eat kidneys, because it depends where you live, depends on the circumstance, depends what kind of kila you have. Now, Lamosh, like kila, like us over here in Detroit, which is approximately 97, 98, maybe 99% is not Sfardim. It's following the Ramah. So the rest of the community, that 1%, 2%, 3%, they have to follow the oil because that's the dominating community. Yeah, there's details over there. It depends if they have their own kihila with everything. Then they yotzam in a cloud, they have like their own city, but it's not so poshut to say that because, like we mentioned in the Mishnah Brura last week, for that you have to have everyday minyan b'tzibur, you have to have your own avbezdin, moira tzedek, you have to have your own mikveh, and v'chulu, like everything your own. If you do everything with the rest of the community, you toffel to them. If you toffel to them for the mikveh, for the schooling, and for the moira tzedek, and v'chulu, then you don't have your own community, you have a minyan. So Mimela, you must follow the minogi hamokim. It's like I said, the whole parak in Masechet Pesachim, mokim shenahagu. So Mimela, selling kidneys in a store and telling him for oichle kidneys, there's two problems. A, those oichle kidneys not allowed to eat kidneys on Pesach also because they have to follow the minhag hamokim. B, a lot of people, especially those which don't know much, they're trying to be traditional Jews, are trying to do their best to keep kosher, to eat kosher. They come to the store, they see kosher on the Pesach sign. They don't read the small fine print, oichle kidneys. They don't know what oichle kidneys is, so they buy it also. So you mamish machshel them to eat kidneys, and I know for a fact many people do that. They don't know chochmas. Lamoshel, they sell also. That's a shvacha heter the egg matzah. The egg matzah. The Rama says befeirush benagu b'medinasenu not to do any matzah ashiro. Ela lechoilim with zakenim. Most people today, when they see egg matzah, a lot of people don't know. They think I like to try this. I saw even some chocolate matzahs. So according to the Rama, it's not allowed to do it unless yotzam and a klal. So to make certain thing that's made for yotzam and a klal, as a klal, people don't know. You could be machshel them. If you think about how to do it, okay, that's one. The second thing is that's even a bigger problem to sell the unkosher liver, because first of all, even the frum people, most people don't do anymore. They forgot the Torah's melicha, because in the olden days, every mother knew to do melicha. You bought the meat from the butcher, you brought it home, you made melicha. Today we buy ready meat that's already kosher with melicha, with everything. People don't know, especially it's more complicated to kosher a liver. It's a lot of halachas, how, what, where. So when you sell this, they see a kosher liver again. Maybe the people that are Torah know the halacha, I cannot buy this. I'm not going to bother with koshering. I'm going to kosher it, fine. But there's a lot of others. They really, but middles they can eat, and they want to eat kosher. They buy kosher. They have even a kosher kitchen at them. They're traditional, but they've tried to keep kosher. They see a kosher beef liver kosher, which is unkosher. There was not. They didn't do the proper tzliya to get the blood out. They buy it, they take it home, they cook it, the matrif, their kalim, the matrif, the liver itself, the other food they cook with it, it's mamash machshel sarabim. They don't know any better. So before I read it, I did speak to few people that sell. So one of them ignored me, said, that's how we do it. Then in another community, somehow I told my son, he spoke to the chief mashgiach over there, in that city, Taka, after he heard it, was the Idi Reshamayim. It didn't become defensive. He Taka, from then on, for a few years, they don't sell anymore in that city unkosher liver. For that reason, because a lot of people, they know for a fact, who buy this, going to go home and cook it as regular meat, and it's not a regular meat. So B'kitzur, I'm going to just read B'kitzur on this in Yeredeh Ayin Gimel. That's what the Lashon of Torah. Kovadesh Boribu Dom, the liver has a lot of blood. Lefichach and lo takona levashla de melicha. You cannot cook it through melicha like regular meat. And then it goes on, and then you have to do tzliya. Again, this sugya at the Gemara in Chulin Daf Kuf Yud Amud Beis. It's a big sugya. The Beis Yosef probably is one of the longest Beis Yosef on this. A lot of arichos advarim, but the Kitzur advarim, I'm going to read it straight to Shulchan Aruch and the Ramo. That's the halacha. Kovedesh baribu dom. Again, it's in Gimel Halacha Aleph and Shulchan Aruch. Leficha lechatchila en letakana levashlei ale demelicha ela koira shksiva erev umaniach hitucha lemato v'tzoleo. Meaning, when you cut that piece of meat, you have to go downward when you do the tzliya with the fire. You roast it. This way, the blood could leak out. He says. After that, you could cook it. So the takana would be really, if the butchers want to really not lose the sale, it's all about more money. They want to make extra sale, big deal. So that butcher not going to go broke if he's not going to sell it. If you want to sell it already, he could do tzli, the minimum tzli that should be roi la'achila. That's the lashon of the Ramoshi, roi la'achila. After that, you already could cook it. Now, then the Ramah comes to this. I'm sorry, I'm going to go to Shulchan Aruch Halacha, continuation of that halacha. But the evet mutar in mizbashel levadoi bekedera below tzliya. But the evet, if somebody bought that unkosher liver and he cooked it on its own, meaning no other food over there, the liver it's kosher without the liver itself. Aval akadero asura, the part where he cooked it become osur. Shapoletas vena belas. The nature of the liver, it's let so much blood that let the blood out, but doesn't take it back. It doesn't absorb back the blood. That's why it's kosher, but the kli become osur. Then he says v'yesh mish oiser. Even the liver itself was cooked on its own. It's osur if you didn't do the proper cutting siva erev tzliya. It's osur even b'di evet. And the Ramah goes is v'chen noyagin le'eser hakol. Meaning the liver itself, the other food, the kadeira, va'afilu nimlecha akovet koydam bishula. Even you did melicha, it still would be osur. So that's lemaisa la'alocha to sell liver, unkosher liver to the oilam. It's mamish ruba. Most people are going to make mistakes, and sometimes unkosher. The liver become not kosher to eat. The kadeira not kosher. The food that was cooked with that. That's why it's absolutely not recommended to sell that unkosher liver. It's not recommended to sell in some communities. Some communities, each big communities or big Sfadish communities, like in Deal, New Jersey, in New York, and Eretz Yisrael, sure, that everybody buy according to his own community. There's no problem. But in the community, like our community, that mostly over here, following the minhag of Ramah, very small a minority following the minhag of Mechaber, they're not allowed, al pi halacha, to use themselves. Definitely not sell in public. Okay.